This is Issa Twan. It's lunchtime. You're in grade school, and guess what? They bring out that square pizza. I'm gonna show y'all how to make it today. So let's go. Yes, you're invited to my personal pizza party. We're gonna do it just like they did back in grade school. Now, starting with the pizza dough, you can buy pre-made pizza dough or you can make your pizza dough from scratch. This is pretty easy. I'm using King Arthur's bread flour and I'm using their pizza dough recipe, which is easy. 3 cups or 360 grams of bread flour is what you're going to need to start off with making the pizza dough. Now, following the instructions on the back of the flour bag, I added 1.5 teaspoons of salt. Now, don't worry, you know I got y'all with the ingredients and measurements in my description box for you guys to follow. So 2 tablespoons of olive oil you want to go ahead and add per the King Arthur's pizza dough recipe. Now for the liquid, which will be the water, you want to add 7/8 to 1 1/8 cup of lukewarm water. It will depend on the age of your flour, so start off low, then work your way up, but no more than 1 1/8 cup of lukewarm water, okay? Then you're going to add 2 teaspoons of active or instant yeast. And here's a key pro tip. To check your yeast, you do want to stir to combine, just like that. Now, before you add this yeast and water mixture to the flour, you want to make sure it's alive. So when you see bubbles, you know you're completely fine. For this recipe, I'm using my stand mixer. It's going to make everything nice and simple. You can knead it by hand, but for this particular recipe, I'm using the stand mixer. Now, I'm mixing it for 45 minutes at second speed. If you're kneading by hand, you just want to knead it until it's nice and smooth. After 45 minutes, bam, it should look just like that. Quick and simple, and is not sticking to the bowl. All right, and that's our pizza dough. I'm going to flour work surface. I'm going to roll the dough out so I can make this dough into a ball. And then I'm going to set it aside. It's really easy. Like I said, you can follow the recipe on the back of the bag. It's 1, 2, 3 step. Super easy. Alright, I'm rolling this dough into a ball. Nice and smooth. It's not sticking to my hands. And what I'm going to do is get a large bowl, just like that. I'm going to add some olive oil to the bowl. And I'm going to make sure the olive oil is all over the bowl. We're going to let this dough rise for 1 hour at room temperature. And again, we're going to grease the bowl because you do not want the dough to stick to the bowl. So go ahead and put that away and let that rise for 1 hour. Overnight in the fridge is best, 24 hours. But if you want to make this right away, 1 hour at room temperature is good enough. Now, Issa Twan homemade pizza sauce. I'm using San Marzano for the tomato sauce. It's going to be really simple and easy to follow, and it's going to make a delicious pizza sauce. So I'm dumping out the can of the tomatoes, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to take each of the tomatoes out and I'm going to put that into a separate bowl, and I'm going to puree them until they're nice and smooth. You can use a hand mixer or a food processor. You just want to go ahead and puree those whole tomatoes until they're nice and smooth. Just like that. Really easy and simple, okay? Then what I'm going to do is pour that in with the rest of the sauce from the can. Yes, I do mix the sauce together, just like that. So go ahead and stir to combine, and this is going to be the base for our sauce. We're going to season this bad boy up, and this is going to make a delicious pizza sauce. So again, follow with me. I got you guys with all of the ingredients on the screen and in the description. So we're going to heat a saucepan on about medium to medium high heat. We're going to go ahead and add some olive oil to that, and then 2 tablespoons of minced garlic. And then to that, we're going to go ahead and stir to combine until the garlic becomes nice and fragrant. Okay, so go ahead and stir to combine. Again, medium to medium high heat is what you're going to need. Now folks, remember your heat should be on medium to medium high heat. Now go ahead and add your tomato sauce to that saucepan with that garlic that we just slightly sauteed. You're going to mix the combine and we're going to let that come together. Now let's season it up. 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper is what we're going to go ahead and add to that. Then we're going to add 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, okay? Then to that, we're going to go ahead and add 1 teaspoon of onion powder. Again, we're just building flavors. This is going to be a delicious piece of sauce, all right? And then to that, we're going to go ahead and add 1/4 teaspoon of chili flakes to give it some nice heat. Now, 1 tablespoon of Italian seasoning is what we're going to need for the tomato sauce, okay? So we're going to make sure everything is well combined. Just follow the steps and it's going to turn out amazing. So stir the combine. It should look just like that. And take your time with it. Make sure everything is well incorporated. Again, make sure the heat is on medium to medium high. Then you're going to add 3 tablespoons of tomato paste, okay? This is going to give it a nice flavor. Then 1 1/4 teaspoon of salt is what we're going to need. And then 1 tablespoon of sugar. That's going to break up all the acidity we have in our sauce. Stir to combine just like that. We're going to let all the flavors blend together. It's going to be really, really nice. Simmer on low for 20 minutes. That's important. Let this sauce simmer on low for 20 minutes. Don't touch it and go do something else. After 20 minutes, go and check it, and the sauce should look just like that. It reduced quite a bit, and also the sauce is not as runny. It's very important. We do not want runny sauce to be put on our pizza. So look at that, nice, reduced, it's rich, it's going to be amazing. So go ahead and get ready to set this aside. We're going to need to let the sauce cool. All right, the sauce needs to cool completely. As you can see, look, it reduced beautifully. So go ahead and get you a nice empty bowl, let cool completely at room temperature, and then you can put it in the fridge. Do not put it in the fridge when it's completely hot, as you see on the screen, okay? Now, if you're like me, the pizza dough will be taken out the fridge after 24 hours, just like that. So I did a 24-hour dough. Ooh, look at all that air inside of the dough. Allow the dough to come to room temperature if you had it in the fridge. Give it an hour or so on the counter, and then move on to something else. In this case, we're going to move on to the cheese. I'm using whole milk mozzarella, so I'm going to go ahead and shred that cheese just like that. And that's going to be some of the cheese I'm going to use for this recipe. All right, so on a sheet pan or square sheet pan, we're going to go ahead and drizzle some olive oil, and we're going to spread it out because we don't want the dough to stick to the pan. Okay, so go ahead and spread it out and make sure everything has some grease on it. Okay, get some elbow grease in there. Now remember earlier I told you guys to make sure you have enough grease in your bowl so that way the dough doesn't stick. I didn't have enough in there, but it wasn't too bad. But you see the point? Make sure you have enough grease in there so that the dough does not stick to the bowl while it's rising. Okay, that's very important. So what I'm doing here, I'm going stretching out the dough so that way we can make sure the dough goes from top to bottom, side to side. Okay, now if it doesn't stretch anymore, let it rest. Okay, so we're going to let it rest in different increments. So I'm going to go ahead and cover it back up and let it rest for 15 minutes so that way we can pull it out a little more. After 15 minutes, the dough has rested, and as you can see, I have a little more dough to work with. So I'm spreading it out, and as you can see, it rested, and now I can stretch it out a little more so that way the dough is not tearing. Okay, and my goal is to make sure it goes edge to edge perfectly. Okay, just like that, edge to edge. All right, that's what we're looking for. And again, let it rest for 15 minutes and then go back and try it again. All right, so this time I need to let it go for 15 more minutes just so I can get it to the edge perfectly without tearing the dough too much, okay? Now, after 15 minutes, I want to go ahead and stretch this dough out edge to edge in this deep dish square pan, so that way we can make a perfect old school lunch pizza. That's right, an old school lunch pizza. So we're gonna go ahead and make sure everything is spread out. Make sure there's no tears in the dough. You don't want the dough to be thin. You want it to be a nice size. So this should be perfect. Alright, now here's the fun part. We are going to go ahead and assemble the pizza. Here's our homemade pizza sauce that we made. So I'm using the ladle and I'm just grabbing some of the pizza sauce from out of the bowl and I'm adding it to our dough. And I'm just circling the sauce edge to edge. I'm just taking my time with it. You do not want to over sauce the pizza, alright? Because this is going to go in the oven. Trust me, do not over sauce the pizza because the tomato sauce will thin out once it's in the oven. Okay, so go ahead and do edge to edge coverage just as you see here, and as you see, I still have some tomato sauce left. Now you can use pre-shredded cheese Italian style, or you can shred your own cheese like I did. Now I'm going to use a little of both, so I'm going to put my first layer of cheese down. I'm adding my shredded mozzarella cheese. This is whole milk mozzarella cheese. Now you can use whatever cheese you like, whatever you want. Is your pizza, is your recipe. I'm only here to guide you. So go ahead and add that cheese to the pizza just like that. Look at that, that looks amazing. Now for the topping, I'm adding pre-cooked crumble sausage. Now you can add whatever you want, turkey, beef, or pork. Just make sure it's pre-cooked. Now for my toppings, I'm doing half and half. So I'm adding the crumble sausage to one half of the pizza, and I'll add a different topping to the other side, alright? Now, remember, you can add whatever cheese you want. I'm using some of the pre-shredded cheese from the store. This is an Italian style mix of cheeses. So I'm adding that to my mozzarella cheese, just like that. Now, on the other half of the pizza, I'm adding some pepperoni. You can add whatever flavor pepperoni you want. Now, once you have the pizza all dressed up the way you want it, this is the point where you're going to go ahead and put this pizza in the oven, and then we're going to be finished with it. We're going to bake this pizza on 475 for 12 to 15 minutes until the crust is to your desired. Okay? Look at that. Woo, that thing looks amazing. 12 to 15 minutes, and there we have our old school pizza. This is our pizza party. Look at the cheese bubbling. We got the sauce, we got the crust. Everything just looks so amazing. Completely optional, but I took some melted butter, added some garlic powder to that, and this is salted butter, and I went ahead and put that on the crust. Woo, so we got a nice garlic butter crust on our old school pizza. Look at that. Woo, look at that garlic butter. That thing looks amazing. Now let's take a look at the bottom of the pizza. Look at the crust, nice and beautiful. Now I'll go ahead and cut these into nice pizza squares, just how they did in grade school when it came time for lunch. How did you guys have your pizza? Did y'all have pepperoni, sausage? Let me know in the comment section. Now I'm going to give it a taste test. This is going to be amazing. The cheese, our homemade dough, the pizza sauce was so good. Give this recipe a try and please let me know how everything turned out. Hit me up in the comment section and I'll hit you guys on the next one.